Okay, we're going to talk about the ChargePoint charger for my Bolt EV. This is what I set up. So on the right over here, you can see, I can get close to it, you can see the disconnect. And directly on the other side of this wall is the electrical panel, and a pipe comes straight through the back of the electrical panel, straight into the back of this, and that's the disconnect. And then the wire goes down this pipe here to the actual charger, which if I can get this thing to pan slowly, you'll see. So this is the charger. The problem is this is not a plug-in version. This is the hardwired version, which you would think, okay, that's cool, but not really. So when you're in front of the thing, as I'll get to in a second, if I can get this thing to pan in the right direction, you'll see that the hose, our power-up cable, which goes out to the nozzle, which is currently plugged into the car, which is why it's not up there. That's on the right hand. It comes out the bottom on the right. There is another hole for you to go in on the bottom on the left, and that's where the plug would be if you had a plug. This one does not have a plug. But you can also come into the back. So for example, if you were going to hardwire it and there was already a box in the wall with power or whatever, you could just mount this over the box, and then the power would come in. So I'm going to get to a couple of problems that exist in this design, and I wanted to start by pointing out that on the bottom input, that the hole is on the left. On the back input, the hole is also on the left. So it is not in the center, it's on the left. So it's right behind here. So as we go under the thing, let me pan up as I go down. Okay, you can't really see because it's dark. So, okay, you see this is the place where the hole would be if I had the plug coming out. So exactly behind, okay, if I can get this thing to now pan down. Exactly behind it, on the back of it, on the wall, but that far to the left is where the wire comes in. So the problem that creates in the current design that I'm using is that as I showed you in the beginning, my power is over here on the right. So since I'm not coming in on the left, I'm coming in on the right, I have to get to the back of the unit on the left. Well, if it wasn't for the fact that this cable here is coming in on the right, there wouldn't really be a problem. Or if it was modular, there wouldn't be a problem. Or if I could come into the side, there wouldn't be a problem. But because it's the bottom or the back and it's only on the left, that creates a serious problem. So, you know, it's great if your panel is on the left of this unit. But if it's not, then what are you going to do? Circle around and come to the other side? So what I had to do was I had to come in and then 90-degree into the back of it, and that resulted in me having to build an offset. So this thing is not mounted to the wall. This is mounted to some bracket which holds it off of the wall, so that I have this dead space here so I can come under the center and go in. Now why does all of that nonsense have to happen? I'll explain. First of all, the bracket I built is a T-shaped bracket, you'll see. If I can get this thing to pan down. Why is it so difficult to do this? And the reason for that is that there's one place where a screw sticks out at the top in the center, and it can just kind of hang on that. And then there's two holes in it down here. There's two holes in it down here in the center where you can stick bolts through and bolt it to something. The reason why is because they want you to bolt this thing on top of a stud, obviously, not just to drywall, and they just want the stud to be in the center because, again, they're not modular. They don't say, hey, the stud can be it can be to the left, it can be to the right. It has to be dead in the center. So not only did they want you to put this thing mounted on a stud, which has to be directly in the center of this, but they always wanted the input on the left, which means that even if you had an outlet, the outlet has to be mounted to the left side of the stud. Well, houses just aren't by default built that way. A stud can be on the left or the right side of the outlet. So, like for example, I've got an outlet built into the wall right over here. The stud could be on either side of that. So if I wanted the wire to drop straight down and plug into that, I'd have to have the center of it to the right-hand side of that outlet. But what if the stud's on the left side? Right? Then there's no stud there. So this doesn't work. Okay. So you would think, okay, well, I can mount it to the stud over here and then have the stud is over here, so the center of the thing is over here, and then the cable comes down 90s over and plugs into that, right? The cable, which is kind of stiff because it's thick, is it's got six gauge wire in it, 3 6-gauge cables in it, which is pretty big. It's only a foot long. It's not really that flexible, and it's not like, hey, if I bring the wire down and 90 it over here, that the ground is going to be on the top, which is where it is. The ground will now be pointed to the side. Well, the outlet's not pointing to the side. What am I going to do? Turn the outlet? So I'm not going to do that, obviously. It's nonsense. So, it's poor design, poor modular design on this unit. It just creates a lot of unnecessary stupidness. And so I just wanted to point that out, a little design flaw there. And we'll get to other things later.